Hey, badass black girls, and they making big moves. Hey, badass black girls, nothing that you can't do. They are the future, I'm trying to tell ya. They want the best, no time to settle. They got the strength to handle the pressure. These are the queens, nobody better. Yeah, changing the narrative, that is imperative. They about to rock this. Tell the women that you got this. Got no time for people who are toxic. It's all love, good vibes. You know I got your back, girl. Talking issues that matter. This is badass black girl, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for a new episode of Badass Black Girl. Your friend MJ here, and we have another special guest. Alice Randall is visiting us today. Hi, Alice.
Hi, it's so thrilling. I'm Alice Randall, and I'm so thrilled to be on Badass Black Girl.
Thank you so much for being here. And you have had such an extraordinary career. Let's talk a little bit about your journey. What about you start by telling us how you came to be Alice?
Well, I was born in Detroit, Michigan. I like to say I was born in one riverside music town, Motown, and I moved to another, Nashville, Music City. And I was born in 1959. And in 1960, the census came out, and we know that there were about 130,000 Black girls living in Detroit when I was born. And there was less than 1,000, about 800 older Black women. So I said, the roots of Black girl magic run straight from Detroit. And I was fortunate to be born into this community of Black girls making all this magic, art, music, science. And that's really important part of who I am. So that's when I heard about your blog, Badass Black Girl. I said, I have to be in that. I'm from Black Bottom, and this is my neighborhood, now my cyber neighborhood.
This is so wonderful to hear about Detroit, and I'm trying to imagine how it was to be there. Tell us a little bit. What did you do? The activities there way back when?
Well,
Sounds
one of the things that
exciting.
was great is that I was born in 59, I'm 61 now, is that when I was a little girl, the center of the week was dancing school, the Ziggy Johnson School of the Theater. That's Ziggy over my shoulder. But everyone, Black kids, from the richest to the poorest, so many of them attended Ziggy's on Saturday. And it wasn't just about learning how to dance. It was about sharing the stories of the community and hearing about the world. And the Supremes might come through, because this is literally in 65, the Supremes might stop by Ziggy Johnson School of the Theater, and this may be on their way back from having been in London. That Detroit was sort of a center of the world, not just of the country. So my life when I was a little girl there was full of all kinds of Black art. When I was very little, this hotel called the Gotham Hotel was still there, and it had a Black photography club in it. And artist Lane, who is in my book, a living saint now, who President Biden has put one of her works of art in his Oval Office. Way back then, her paintings of portraits of Black people were hanging all through the walls of the Gotham. And when I was a little girl, a guy called John Lockhart, who would eventually be called John Anye Lockhart, he did my portrait because he was doing portraits of all the Black kids. And now he died having done big murals, in the city. But back then he was making his living painting everyday children of everyday people for probably $100. And so it was an art center. It was an athletic center. People don't associate Black folks with this, but everybody was golfing. And they were horseback riding at Belle Isle, as well as, Night Train Lane was playing football. But every day people were golfing and horseback riding and swimming. It was just vibrant activism, art and athletics and politics scene.
And you talk about some of that in your book. Can we see the book? Do you have a copy with you?
Yes, I never, right
It's
these
such
days.
a beautiful book too. I love it.
Well, it's funny, Jimmy James Green, who did the cover, he apprenticed with John Lockhart. That was a coincidence, the man who did my childhood painting. Isn't that wild? When I found out he had apprenticed with him, I said, you have to be my artist. And one of the things we did is we translated the entire novel chapter by chapter into collage portraits.
Oh,
It's
wow.
translated by Jimmy James Green into 53. That's the Gotham Hotel I was telling you about, into 53 portraits.
It's a beautiful set. Is it available for sale?
No, 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 just for art, for art. One day, maybe. I love the idea of children playing with it because it's a deck of cards and they
Right.
can play war, they can play peace, not war. And the lower card wins, not the upper. And we're going to turn it all around. That's a badass Black girl thing. You play peace, not war, and the 2 beats the 3. 7 beats the 8.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about the book. What is the book about, and what I know what inspired you. You just told us so much about your childhood and how exciting it was. But what convinced you that you needed to write this book?
One, we were living in a very broken time 4 years ago when I started seriously writing it. That it was the beginning of what has become a time of reckoning. I was speaking into the Me Too movement, the Say Her Name movement, Black Lives Matter movement. And I wanted to talk about how long we have been waiting for this reckoning. I wanted to acknowledge that trauma is in the fabric of the founding of the country because of racism and sex-based violence, particularly against Black women. But I also wanted to celebrate the reality that joy, particularly Black joy, Black girl joy, is radical. Joy is radical. Love is the strut, hate is the stumble. So I wanted to write a novel that was all about and addressed to radical joy. And I wanted to write a novel that would help people move from trauma to transcendence, to joy, to get beyond hate and get into the strut of love. So that's what the novel is about. The novel is about Joy is Radical. It's situated in Detroit, 48 to 68. It looks at all these virtuous lives of really wild, cool Black people, including, you want to talk about the original badass Black girl, Eartha Kitt is my secret saint, who goes to the White House and calls out President Johnson and his wife and talks about young Black men who are being killed in Vietnam. And so, but what's wonderful about Eartha is her joy, is her art. So that is where I am situated in life right now. I am situated in this address to joy, and our art helps us restore the self and know the self. Two of my favorite people in the entire books are Butterbeans and Susie. They were born in the 19th century. They are blues artists and comedians and a couple. And Butterbeans and Susie in the novel tells Ziggy, the main character, that the whole point of art is to help the audience fall back in love with themselves.
I love this.
I hope anyone on this Zoom, this vlog with us right now, I hope everything I say is all about you. It's all about anything you hear that I say that helps you love you more. Art restores the capacity of the audience to love themselves and know themselves. That's the big deal. That's the magic.
Alice, you have such great energy about you. And when I look at your accomplishments, you've received many awards. One from the NAACP. You've attended Harvard University. I mean, there are so many things about your career that are just spectacular. And here you are in flesh. Well, we're virtually, but we're on a one-on-one with me, and I can feel your energy. And I keep thinking, what is the secret sauce for someone to be as successful as you are? For someone to have this kind of energy where you're positive, you're just creating art and writing books and just putting something good out in the world. What does it take?
Loving people, respecting other people, wanting to connect. And also, I listen to all this wonderful music. I look at beautiful paintings. I love to see movies made by other artists. I love living down by the river. I can look out on the riverside and I enjoy seeing the sunrise in the morning because some days it's hard. I am actually 2 years into a post breast cancer journey. And in COVID, that's not fun. You know, I have to be so locked down, but I'm still connecting. I'm still loving the art. One of the themes of the book, we rise from the ashes. I spot to hard won happy. Joy is real. And health, I am enjoying great health right now. I shared that message because we can't be afraid of our bodies. We've got to take care of our bodies. We got to love ourselves. And we've got to realize it is hard. But I see your smile. I see that you, when I got this email, that you're doing this very cool thing. And I can join in community with you, and you support me and I'm supporting you, and we all rise together. Because that's a common cause. Everybody's on that side. And Ziggy, my character, he was such a community builder and realized that so many voices are needed. I try to work towards excellence, but to me, the excellence is not the degree from Harvard or the honorary doctorate from Fisk, which I respect all that. It's the earnest work when somebody says to me, this book lifted my spirit. This book, this character reminds me of my grandma, my auntie. This told me that even though I was raped, I am vital, passionate, pure, clean, reviving, that someone else's worst day doesn't define my best day. That's what I love. That's what keeps me going, because I know that other people, The Color Purple did that for me. I want to do it for somebody else. And that's when you're writing for not the awards. I'm thrilled that we're finalists for the NAACP Image Award. I'm thrilled that I've won one of those in the past. But the thing is, every time the work actually lifts somebody.
I love this. I love this so much. And I work a lot with young people. I've been a teacher for the longest time. And during the pandemic, I've been meeting with young people virtually. And they're always curious about how to become a writer, what should they do. And I talk about the importance of being a reader first and then a writer. And this leads me to my next question. You mentioned The Color Purple, for instance, a classic that I always recommend to aspiring writers. What are some other books that you've read that have changed you in a way that's been so powerful that you would recommend those books to other people?
One of Maya Angelou's, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, to just get some old school classics in there. For young people, a lot of them love Monster by Walter D. Myers. I love the fact it's in an unusual form of a screenplay. For young middle school readers, my daughter and I wrote a Jungian fairy tale princess story called The Diary of B.B. Bright, Possible Princess. I think
Idol.
of wild things, I encourage kids to even read Shakespeare plays, because then you can rewrite them in the image of your moment, that they become the great plot. I do think I read books. I read, when I was young, I read a book every day, certainly every week. I also think work works. And I encourage young writers to decide whether it's 10 words, 100 words, or 1,000 words, and to write those every day. Or write those every week, to say, I'm gonna write 100 words a week. But if you write 100 words a day, at the end of a year, you will have a whole novel. And you're never too young to start writing your first novel. And your first novel, if you're young, it could be a little novella that's only 1,000 words. So if you write 100 words a day, in 10 days, you may have your novella. All you need is a beginning, middle, and end. And the first thing I do is don't rewrite. Rewriting is so important, but get your first 100 pages if you're in high school. If you're a high school writer, just get started. Write every day and don't revise till you have 100 pages. And then once you have 100 pages, spend 100 days rewriting, rethinking it, doing it the other way. And then 200 days in, start sharing with people and getting feedback. And so 300 days later, you will have something. It will have a beginning, middle, and end. It may be something you just want to put in your drawer, but you will have something. So I encourage you to read, but I also encourage you to write, and to write a lot on a regular basis and at a regular time, because that helps you get the, to train yourself that when I'm sitting in this space, I'm going to get something on the page.
Yes. This is awesome advice. And um, I mean, you've been so open about what you do, why you write, what you write, and we talked a little bit about your impressive career, your interesting childhood, and you've been publishing for a while. You're a New York Times bestseller. You're very well known, and I'm curious about your interaction with your audience. You've been, like I said, you've been publishing for a while, and publishing has changed so much in the past few years, particularly with the pandemic now, a lot of virtual interactions like the one that we're having now. Um, what are your thoughts on the new ways that people get to interact with literature and with authors? Do you think that this 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 new landscape where so much is happening virtually is a good thing, in the sense that we're having more meaningful conversations with more access? Or do you feel that there's something else going on that might not be an advantage for the reader or for the writer?
I think it's complex, and I think that's a great question. I think there are more advantages. One, I don't wish this pandemic on us, but I think there are as many advantages as disadvantages. Because one of the things, for example, I'll be very real with you. My readers would never have an opportunity to see me with essentially no makeup on and just lipstick. I do not have on a bit of mascara or makeup base. If I was going on book tour, I just wouldn't do that. You are actually in my house. This is not a Zoom background. It is set up for the Zoom space, but this is my apartment. That is, I think that I'm in a black t-shirt, that when you're getting it, you're doing it at your home, that unless it's a very formal thing, you're going to be, it's like coming to visit with me. It's very similar to coming over to my house and having a cup of coffee, because in my actual real life with my girlfriends and my other friends, I'm not a makeup wearer. I'm a person who has, 9 pairs of yoga pants and probably 10 of this black t-shirt and a couple of caps, and I can throw them right on. And I am not a person who thinks a lot about hair and makeup. But when book tour in a professional way happens, you're in a bookstore, you've got to present that other facade. And what I like about this is when people come into your home, we've all gotten permission to let people sort of be in our house with us. So I think that, and there's a way in which everyone's on the front row now, that no matter if there are 300 people in the Zoom, I get to see all of them for real too, that they're all on the front row. So I think there's some advantages. And literally at 61 years old, I had so many events last week. No, I think I was on with 400 people on Tuesday night, Monday night, another large number. I was at UVA on Friday. I couldn't have been in all of those places. And I was at UVA on Friday and Michigan on Monday with over 100 people in each one. I couldn't have done that in real life with planes and still be sane. And I couldn't have done it and then teach my class at Vanderbilt on Wednesday. I would have been and be in a different hotel, because tonight I'll just be in my house making some wild salmon and steaming some broccoli on my own. And it's healthier, that I'm not on a book tour. I'm not eating out at a restaurant every night. I'm not having to sleep in a hotel every night. So I think there's some advantages. There are tremendous disadvantages. The audience doesn't get to meet each other. You are sort of closer to the writer, but you're not in a community in a bookstore where you get to make new friends. I've made friends at book readings. And I'm afraid that the audience all they get to meet is me. And I think the audience meeting other parts of the audience is exciting for the audience and exciting for me. So I miss that. I miss, but I want to focus, since Joy is radical, I believe in figuring the things that are closer, that I get to be in people's homes with them, that they get to be in my home with me, that if things freeze, it doesn't get to be perfect. You know, sometimes the screen might freeze, something might happen. We have to embrace the imperfections. I think that's all good. I will look forward to when we're back into another world. I think that so when I started off, I've been doing it for 20 years. My first book was published, I believe, in 2001, The Wind Done Gone, and it's 2021 now. And so my first book tour was city by city. Websites were not a big deal then. In fact, I'm sure I didn't have a website for The Wind Done Gone. I think that email has become an important way to reach people. Facebook has been important. I have Instagram and I have Twitter. I hardly really know how to do them. I depend on young interns to help me with them. It's all real. It's not strangers, but it is, it's not some big media company. It's, graduate students and young people who want to volunteer or help me for very simple wage to do that. But I love all these different ways to connect. I'm still learning them. They're like new languages. I prefer just a straight ahead email. My email is ms.alicerandall@gmail.com if people want to email me. I love for people to play on the websites. I enjoy creating the websites, almost like a room in my house where I can entertain you. There are lots of fun things to do at www.alicerandall.com or www.blackbottomsaints.com. You can take a quiz, you can learn things, you can get a free chapter of the book. I want it to be real hospitality. I don't want you to, we do sell on the site because I want to support particularly Black-owned bookstores and independent bookstores, but that's not the big deal. We give away free things on the site. I want it to be a place you can come and hang out and have fun.
Alice, thank you so much for coming today, letting us into your home. It's been an inspiration to hear about your childhood and the books that you've put out and just your philosophy of life, something based on Black joy and just being yourself. And I think that many of us needed to hear this today. And I can't thank you enough for making the time to be with us and just be you, because you're amazing. You're totally badass.
You are amazing. Thank you so much. And I mean that. I get a lot of requests, but when this came and when I looked at what you're doing, I loved everything about who you were and what you're doing with this community. And I am just so honored that some young, amazing women would even consider letting this old head come in.
Are you kidding? When you got back to us, we were ecstatic. We couldn't believe it. Thank you.
No, I love what you're doing and invite me. I will be happy to come back. Everything you're doing is everything I believe in, and Ziggy and all the saints would want me to be part of the Badass Black Girl movement.
Well, until next time, then I will invite you again for sure. And the team is so ecstatic about your work. So happy to have you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Until next time.
Take care.